So we got a question from Manprit Gotham. What are some of the mistakes that you made when you were starting out your agency? All right, so I love this question by Jake. Is TikTok going to be useful in the future of social media marketing? All right, so Khalid is asking, fastest niche to scale. What's up, future millionaires? I recently posted an Ask Me Anything on my YouTube and my Instagram. And in this video, I'm going to be answering your guys' questions from that about social media marketing and really anything about my life and goals and anything you guys could possibly want to know. So if you want to get in on these questions next time, make sure to follow me on Instagram at Billy Willson. Let's jump right into the questions. All right, so we got Bobik with the first question. Key things agency owners must do or change in 2020 for success. I would say the number one way to answer this question, the thing that people need to change the most is just focusing more on client results and a lot less on sales. Nowadays, businesses can see through all the BS. They've probably already even tried other marketing agencies. So the best way to separate and do better than any other marketing agency out there is just simply get better results and let your results do the talking. All right, so we got Nathan with a really common question I've been getting lately. What's your opinion on the recent illness that's been going about? I don't want to say the name because I don't want to get like demonetized or my video blacklisted by YouTube or anything like that. So what is my opinion on this and how is it going to affect social media marketing? Well, it's obviously already affected social media marketing. It's affecting every business really, and especially local businesses because people are not going to be willing to go to local in-person businesses as much. Now, of course, this is only going to last a certain period of time. It's not going to be something that lasts forever. It could last a month or two, could last a few months, could even last all the way up to a year. Now, realize there's going to be a change, but do your best to fight through this change as much as possible. Kind of stick to your normal situation. People tend to freak out too much when things like this happens or like when changes happen with Facebook ads. Just don't freak out, relax, everything's gonna be fine and you're gonna get through it. The best thing that you can do during this time is if you're having difficulties, like you have a client leaving you, if you're working with a lot of gyms or in local businesses or they're pausing the ads for a few months, the best thing you can do during this period is focus on outreach. Because you can line up a bunch of new clients to start working with you as soon as this issue is over, and that way you've already got a huge pipeline built up and a bunch of clients that are already ready to start working with you as soon as this is over. That's the best way you can use this time right now. So doing a lot of outreach right now because everyone's at home, everyone's looking at their phones, and clients will have time to talk to you over the phone. So that's a really perfect time for outreach. And the other thing that you can do right now is focus a lot more on education and building your practice and just getting better overall. Once again, just don't freak out too much and don't panic, and this is not the end of the world. Just keep things going, moving as much as you can, and just realize there might be a slight difference, but just keep moving forward is the number one thing. All right, so we got a question from Manprit Gotham. What are some of the mistakes that you made when you were starting out your agency? So one of the biggest mistakes that I made was realizing that thinking that I wasn't good at sales. I didn't realize that sales was a skill that I needed to become good at. I thought some people were born good at sales and some people weren't. So that was the biggest mistake that I made. And if I was to redo things, I would focus on making my sales skills better from the very beginning rather than relying on another person or trying to find another person that's going to sell for me. I would just get better at sales myself. That would be probably the number one thing that I would improve and the mistake that I made at the beginning. Another mistake I made that I see a lot of people make is thinking you know it all from the very beginning. Like you've only been doing social media marketing for a few months, but then all of a sudden you think you know it all. When in reality, you'll go back when you go down like 1 or 2 years later, you're going to look back at yourself and you'll be like, I was so dumb. That's what you got to realize when you're just starting out. You should still have confidence in yourself, but realize that you have a lot more to learn when you're only a few months, even a year in, you still have a lot more to learn to become a true expert. All right, so we got Brad here with a very common question. He's got 14 likes on this comment. My biggest issue is I'm not sure the best way to get experience with Facebook ads before I start working with my first client. Kind of like the chicken and egg scenario. I need experience to get a client results before I get a client experience, so I'm kind of stuck. So what's the best way to get good at Facebook ads before I get my first client so I actually do get a good client, I can deliver results? I completely understand the situation, and here's the thing. There's really no way around this. This is like the thing when you have a job application that's like, say you have to have a previous job experience, right? You just apply for it anyways. That's the only way you're going to get the job, and it doesn't really matter. They're just looking for the best candidate. So the thing you got to realize is you just got to get your first client. You can even offer to work with some businesses for free at the beginning if you want to build that confidence and build your knowledge and skill in Facebook ads, but you definitely don't need to. For me, I got paid for my first client. Maybe you can give them a reduced fee or something like that just to build your confidence. Overall, you just have to do it. There's no way around it. I mean, you could spend your own money, but you don't have a business, so it's not even a real example at that point. So once you get familiar with everything, you want to learn everything as much as possible as you can first, and then mess around with the Facebook Ads Manager a little bit, make your own account. But then once it gets to a certain point when you feel like you have enough knowledge to actually run the ads, you just need to do it. The only way you can gain experience is by actually doing it. So you can either do like a just paid client, just get a client to pay you, or you can do it for like a reduced price, or you can even do it for free and ask the client for a case study after you get them great results. So those are the three options. No matter what, you always want to have the client pay for the ad spend. Of course, they're going to still be getting a benefit because you will probably still know more than them about Facebook advertising. So you're still providing a really valuable service to them, and that's one thing you need to realize. So we got a great question from Joe here. He asked, what was the first major investment you made when you started generating good money? If you guys don't know who Joe is, we made a video with him in the past. He already has a multi-six-figure agency. He's doing a really great job right now. So what's the best investment that I made, or the first investment that I made once I started making good money? Actually, one of the first investments that I made was this desk right here, standing desk. This was super helpful to me because one, it was just looked way, I always had a really crappy desk when I was starting out. But the other thing is I can stand and work and sit and work, which allows me to work for a longer period of time without having any back pain and stuff like that, and it's just better for my health overall. So that's one thing. But then the second thing besides that was just reinvesting in myself and reinvesting the knowledge in other courses. That was the thing that helps me the most. And when you're just starting out, the best thing you can invest in is in yourself and your own knowledge, because that will generate you the highest return compared to anything else. So I would say your environment and things that can improve your knowledge would be the two best things that you can invest in at the beginning. All right, so I love this question by Jake. Is TikTok going to be useful in the future of social media marketing? And it's already useful right now, to be honest. Now, there of course is a downside, and the downside is that TikTok kind of attracts users that have a really low attention span and are typically younger in age. So it only depends on what type of product you are marketing, or what kind of audience that you're trying to build, and who is your ideal customer, or who your client's ideal customer is. But if your client's ideal customer falls within that space where it's young people with a shorter attention span, then TikTok can be extremely useful for social media marketing, especially if you jump on it right now. You want to be ahead of the trend. It's getting a little bit late to jump on. There's never a time that's too late. This is still an amazing time, and most people still are on it. But if you want to utilize TikTok, get on it right away and start becoming an expert right away. And you can potentially work with companies that have a target market that targets that like younger demographic, Generation Z. All right, so we got another question from Babak. He's asking some good questions today. What's the best way to stand out when you have a generic service and a generic niche? And to be honest with you, there's not really a good way to stand out when you're in that situation. Now, the best way to stand out in that situation is to have better results than anyone else. And just by the way that you speak, when you speak to a client, do you come across as an expert that knows what they're doing, and that they know when they hear you talk and when they see your writing that you are the real deal? That's the best way to stand out overall, is just having that feel in your writing and when you speak, that clients can tell that you're the real deal when they speak to you. That's the number one way to separate yourself, regardless of niche and everything like that. But after that, the second thing would be results, actual proven results. And then the third thing would be just picking a niche. So I'd highly recommend actually getting into an industry if you can. And we'll talk a little bit more about niches and stuff like that a little bit later in this video. But that's what I would do. I would highly recommend just focusing on one niche as much as possible, because it really does make a big difference. Nabil asked, tips to grow our Instagram account. So I used to have a lot of knowledge about this. Now Instagram has changed a lot, and their algorithm is always changing. So I'll be honest, I'm not the number one expert to do this, but what would I do if I wanted to grow my Instagram account more? Well, the first thing you need to realize with growing any social media is the number one way to grow a social media platform and grow any personal brand is being unique. You need to have your own personality that's extremely different from everybody else, your own content that's extremely different from everyone else, because your content and being extremely unique is what people want to see. They want to see something new that they've never seen before. So if you want to separate yourself and you grow your brand as fast as possible, the first thing is just making sure you have a really unique personality and really unique content, and try to be like as unique as possible, but also things that are highly that have a high desire in the marketplace. So now actually like technical things that I would recommend looking up YouTube videos on how to grow your Instagram in 2020 and things like that, and just watch like 5 of those different videos and kind of compile all the information you find And those will probably give you the best tips for growing your Instagram in 2020. There is one thing that I noticed recently that was a helpful tip that I might share with you guys, is that carousel ads actually perform really, really good on Instagram right now because of the fact that Instagram wants to keep people on the platform as long as possible. So when people are swiping your pictures over and over again, it causes them to look at your post for a longer period of time. So think about ways you can have people look at your posts for longer periods of time, and that way people will spend more time on your post, and then your post will show to more people. All right, so Lion Flower asked, what kind of car do I have? And I'm gonna put a picture on the screen right now. I have a Saab 9.3 2006 2.0 turbo, and I really love the car. It's kind of old at this point, but to be honest, I just recently bought this new house. I've always wanted to have a Tesla Roadster, and I will get one day, but I'm saving up at the moment, and I really am the type of person that I either want like the crappiest car and I don't really care at all, or I want like the very, very best. I don't really care for cars in the middle. I'd rather just save the money and just drive my car either until I have enough money saved up to buy a Tesla Roadster, or until it completely dies. And see, that's the thing that you really need to realize, is like what kind of car somebody owns or stuff like that doesn't really mean anything. Like how much money do they actually have in their bank account is what really matters. You'll notice that people typically wear like super fancy and like flex clothes when they actually don't have as much money as someone that's actually a millionaire and has a lot of money. So really what you own is not that important. It's about how you actually save and invest your money. I'd rather save and invest my money and be like 100% financially secure before making purchases that I don't really need to do. That's one thing that's led to my success, really, is just saving up money when I don't need to spend it, and really living below your means is a really key thing. I'm sure you guys heard of like Warren Buffett still driving like a super old car and things like that. So, but that was a really good question. I really appreciate that question, and really fun one to answer. All right, so Khalid is asking, fastest niche to scale. And to answer this question, it really just comes down to market desires and needs. What niche right now has the biggest need for Facebook ad services or Google ads or YouTube ads, whatever service that you're offering? What niche has the highest need for that right now? That's going to be the fastest niche, and this is changing all the time. So I can't really give you a specific answer on this, and this is also something you need to find out for yourself. You can test different industries, and one thing that I would highly recommend is think about what industries do you know really well, and then think if these people really need help with this, whatever service you're offering. So you need to really find a market desire is the number one thing to finding the fastest growing niche, but really any niche is good. And you need to just focus on, like, once you find the right one, you can try out a few at the beginning, but then once you find the right one, you need to define a system for that. And then once you've got a system down for providing really amazing results, and then you've also got a system down for generating meetings on demand, really any niche can grow really fast. So don't spend too much time finding a niche, and this is also something that takes experience. So just get started and don't worry about the niche too much. Like, you want to make sure you get one, but really when you get like 2 to 3 years of experience in the marketing field, then you'll finally start to realize what are the best niches for you to work with. That's something you got to kind of find on your own. All right, so I get this question a lot from international people. Raj asks, I'm Indian, would my accent and location affect if I get clients or not? And I've also had some other questions from some other people similar to this. And to answer this question, would my accent and location affect if I get clients? Of course it will. It's not, I'm not going to lie to you and say it's not going to affect your results. Of course it's going to. Now, there is some advantages if you use this the right way. One advantage is you can use the currency differences. So in India, it's probably, you can get a lot more out of your money if you're getting US dollars from outside of country clients. So you can actually charge a lower fee than what most other marketing agencies would charge in the United States. So your client is getting a better deal, but you're still providing them with the same results. See, the thing you gotta realize is the number one thing clients care about is the actual results that they're gonna get. It's not always about how you look or what kind of accent you have. Now, of course, having an accent is gonna be a difference if it's really hard to understand you, and you probably should work on that over time. But really in the end, I know someone with a really thick Indian accent that speaks English, and you can hardly understand him, but he still has multiple clients. Now, he charges a little bit of a reduced fee, but he still provides his clients with amazing results, and that's really all that matters in the end, is just providing clients with results, and they might actually prefer to work with you because you'll be willing to give them a better deal. And overall, I would still suggest working on your English and working on your accent over time if you want to grow your agency and charge higher ticket amounts. Realize that it will have an effect, but there's actually some benefits to it too, and clients may want to work with you because you might give them a better deal, and you're focused on the results and things like that. Bellybird asked, do you think the gym niche is still worth doing? Any suggestions? Dentists don't seem to work. Jack with the great question, where do you want to be in 5 years? What are you building towards? Question from Waleed, best method to find and sign your first social media marketing client.